The Spanish Inquisition. The very name evokes images of shadowy figures, instruments of torture, and the chilling cries of the condemned. For centuries, it has been synonymous with religious fanaticism and brutal oppression. But what if I told you that much of what you think you know is wrong? What if the Spanish Inquisition, while undeniably a period of great suffering, has been unfairly painted as a monstrous aberration? This is not to diminish the very real pain inflicted, but rather to embark on a journey beyond the black legend, to uncover the nuances and complexities shrouded in the mists of time. The conventional narrative, often perpetuated through sensationalized accounts, portrays the Inquisition as a uniquely Spanish reign of terror. Yet the truth is far more intricate. The Inquisition was not a sudden eruption of violence, but a product of its time, deeply intertwined with the political and religious upheavals of late medieval and early modern Europe. To understand the Inquisition, we must first delve into the historical context that breathed life into its tribunals. We must peel back the layers of myth and prejudice to reveal the human drama that unfolded within its grasp. Join me as we embark on a journey through the annals of history, venturing beyond the well-trodden paths of conventional wisdom. Together, we'll explore the untold story of the Spanish Inquisition, separating fact from fiction and shedding light on a period that continues to fascinate and horrify in equal measure. To comprehend the rise of the Spanish Inquisition, we must journey back to the late 15th century, a time when the Iberian Peninsula was a tapestry woven from diverse faiths and cultures. For centuries, Muslims, Jews, and Christians had coexisted, albeit uneasily, under the banner of Al-Andalus. However, the Reconquista, the centuries-long Christian reconquest of Spain, was reaching its climax, culminating in the fall of Granada in 1492. The stage was set for a new era, one marked by both unity and profound upheaval. Ferdinand II of Aragon and Isabella I of Castile, the Catholic monarchs, ascended to their respective thrones, inheriting a kingdom scarred by religious and ethnic divisions. Their marriage, a strategic alliance, held the promise of uniting the Spanish kingdoms under a single crown. However, this unity came at a cost: religious conformity. The monarchs, driven by a complex interplay of political expediency, religious zeal, and economic ambition, embarked on a path that would forever alter the course of Spanish history. The establishment of the Spanish Inquisition in 1478 was not solely a measure of religious persecution. It was intrinsically linked to the consolidation of royal power and the creation of a unified Spanish identity. By targeting conversos, Jews who had converted to Christianity, the monarchs sought to eliminate a perceived threat to the newly established religious and social order. These converts, often suspected of practicing Judaism in secret, represented a challenge to the crown's authority. The Inquisition, therefore, became a tool, a brutal and unforgiving tool, to enforce religious conformity and solidify the power of the monarchy. It was a means to an end, a way to quash dissent, eliminate potential rivals, and forge a united Spain under the banner of Catholicism. The Spanish Inquisition, shrouded in centuries of myth and propaganda, has become synonymous with unmitigated horror. While it is undeniable that the Inquisition inflicted immense suffering, it is crucial to approach its history with nuance and a critical eye, separating fact from the often exaggerated fiction. One of the most pervasive myths surrounding the Inquisition is its insatiable bloodlust, depicting it as an institution driven solely by a desire for torture and execution. While it is true that torture and executions were part of the inquisitorial process, they were not its primary objective. The Inquisition, despite its flaws and brutalities, operated within a legal framework, albeit one heavily skewed towards securing confessions. Its aim, at least in theory, was not to kill but to reconcile heretics with the Catholic Church. Torture, when used, was intended to elicit confessions, which were seen as essential for the salvation of the accused's soul. Another misconception is the notion of the Inquisition as an all-powerful, omnipresent force. In reality, the Inquisition's reach was not absolute. Its power fluctuated over time and varied geographically, with some regions experiencing its presence more acutely than others. Moreover, the Inquisition was not a monolithic entity, but rather a complex institution with internal divisions, competing agendas, and varying degrees of zeal among its officials. Perhaps the most damaging myth is the idea that the Spanish Inquisition was uniquely barbaric. The Inquisition was not an isolated phenomenon, but rather part of a broader European trend of religious intolerance and persecution. Other inquisitions, such as the Roman Inquisition, also employed torture and executions, and religious persecution was widespread across Europe during this period. By deconstructing these myths, we can begin to understand the Spanish Inquisition within its historical context, acknowledging its horrors while also recognizing its complexities. It is only through a nuanced and evidence-based approach that we can truly grasp the multifaceted nature of this tumultuous chapter in human history. The Spanish Inquisition, though often viewed through the lens of religious zealotry, was in reality a complex tapestry woven from threads of political ambition, economic opportunism, and personal vendettas. To truly understand its inner workings, we must look beyond the simplistic narrative of religious fanaticism and delve into the motivations of the key players who shaped its course. At the helm stood Ferdinand and Isabella, the Catholic monarchs, who had united Spain under their rule. While their piety was undeniable, their motives were not solely driven by religious fervor. The expulsion of the Jews in 1492, a pivotal event in inquisitorial history, was as much about consolidating power and enriching the crown as it was about religious purity. The vast wealth confiscated from the Jewish community filled royal coffers, strengthening the monarchy's grip on power. Tomás de Torquemada, the first Grand Inquisitor, is often portrayed as the embodiment of inquisitorial cruelty. While his role in shaping the institution's early years is undeniable, his motivations remain a subject of debate. Was he a ruthless fanatic driven by an unshakable belief in rooting out heresy? Or was he a shrewd political operator, wielding the Inquisition as a tool to advance his own agenda and curry favor with the crown? Beyond the central figures, the Inquisition was staffed by a vast network of officials, each with their own motivations and ambitions. Some were driven by genuine religious zeal, believing they were safeguarding the faith from corruption. Others saw the Inquisition as a path to power, prestige, or financial gain. The motivations of these individuals, often a complex mix of personal ambition and ideological conviction, shaped the day-to-day realities of the Inquisition. By understanding the motivations of the individuals who drove the inquisitorial machine, we can begin to unravel the intricate web of power, greed, and religious fervor that fueled its flames. The Spanish Inquisition was not simply a story of religious persecution. It was a human drama driven by the same ambitions, fears, and desires that have shaped the course of history for millennia. The true terror of the Spanish Inquisition lay not only in its tribunals and dungeons, but also in its insidious ability to permeate the very fabric of society. The fear it engendered reached far beyond the walls of its prisons, casting a long shadow over the lives of ordinary Spaniards. It was a fear that whispered in the marketplace, haunted dinner conversations, and poisoned relationships between neighbors. The practice of denunciation, an integral part of the inquisitorial system, created an atmosphere of suspicion and distrust. Anyone could be accused of heresy, often on the flimsiest of evidence, by their neighbors, acquaintances, or even family members. This constant threat of accusation bred a culture of silence where people were afraid to speak their minds or challenge the prevailing orthodoxy for fear of being branded as heretics. The autos de fe, public spectacles of penance and punishment, served as stark reminders of the Inquisition's power. These elaborate ceremonies, held in town squares across Spain, showcased the consequences of dissent and reinforced the message that the Inquisition was ever present and watchful. The sight of their fellow citizens being paraded through the streets, forced to wear the humiliating San Benito, and subjected to public humiliation instilled a deep sense of fear and obedience in the hearts of onlookers. The psychological impact of the Inquisition extended far beyond its immediate victims. The constant threat of accusation, the public displays of punishment, and the pervasive atmosphere of fear and suspicion created a society where conformity was prized above all else. It stifled intellectual curiosity, discouraged dissent, and sowed the seeds of distrust among neighbors, friends, and even within families. The Inquisition's legacy was not just one of physical suffering, but also of profound psychological trauma, leaving an indelible mark on the Spanish psyche for generations to come.